on the first page, you're. Oh, I got something playing on here. Oh, that explains that. Okay. So what you'll see is, all right, seatbelt, fire extinguisher, turn the key on, start it up, check all your gauges, check all your lights, heater, defroster, windshield mirrors. Like, it's just kind of some basic stuff there, and then you get into the actual. Oh, she must have wore her Velcro pants today. She's mowing down cones. And then what you'll see on the next page is all the like air brake stuff. And so what you basically see are four tests that we're gonna do. And the first one is just we're gonna test everything for leaks. And then the second one is we're gonna simulate an air leak. Slow. And then we're gonna simulate an air leak and make sure that all the emergency warning lights and spring brakes will engage and all that stuff. And then we're gonna test the spring brakes and make sure they're holding, and then we're gonna do a service brake test and make sure that they're working properly. So from the beginning, see, we're gonna have most likely gonna have finished the outside, and then we're gonna do the in-cap last. Doesn't always happen that way, but it usually does. And so we will have already kind of gone through the lights while they were out there, and they'll be marking them off and everything. And so we'll be in here, and then they'll get in, and then we'll kind of start at that point the actual test. So you would start something like this. I'm gonna test the seatbelt, make sure it's not ripped or torn or frayed. It's properly mounted, secured to the truck, it latches properly. And I got my seatbelt, or my my fire extinguisher, which is either going to be right next to your seat here, or it's going to be in the side box under that. So I got my 10 BC fire extinguisher. It's fully charged, it's properly mounted and secured. You guys know what 10 BC stands for? So 10 is the square footage of fire that you can put out with that. 10 square feet of fire. And then the BC is like the class of combustibles that it can put the fire out. And I'm not too knowledgeable about what all they are, but B and C I think is like
everything except wood, if I'm not mistaken.
Electronics and plastic. And, so anyway, it's a 10 BC. It's fully charged. It's properly mounted and secured. And then we've got 6 spare fuses in this fuse panel here. We've got 3 reflective triangles in the back. Yeah, and that's like kind of all of our emergency equipment, right? So kind of get that done. Then we're gonna go ahead and start it up. So we're gonna turn it to the on position, and I'm looking for all my warning lights to come on and go off, and I'm looking for the ABS light to come on and go off. So we kind of got to mention that one specifically. And God, I'm sorry guys, I'm super distracted. Maybe it wasn't the best idea. So all the ABS light came on and went off, all the other warning lights came on and went off. Now I'm gonna start the truck up. Very first thing I'm gonna check is the oil pressure gauge. So you'll see on the book, it's got, each one of these gauges has 4 separate things that you're gonna say, right? So it's all real simple. It's pretty much the same thing every time. It's the gauge is working, the warning light is off, it's at X, which in this case is 28 PSI, which is normal operating range. And the fourth thing that we talk about is we kind of tag it at the end with a little information to let them know that we know what normal operating range really is for oil pressure, right? So the gauge is working, the warning light is off, it's at 28 PSI, which is normal operating range, and as this truck warms up, it should settle down to about 20. Now, okay, so what's normal? It depends. If it's 10 degrees outside, you start this thing up, I mean, it might be up at 65, 70, 80 PSI. That's normal. The oil is super thick, there's a lot of pressure, And as it warms up, it settles down, and it shouldn't really go below 20 in this truck. Now obviously, there's a little warning light down there at the corner that can tell you, but it's kind of one of those things you want to know. All right, water temperature gauge, same thing. The 4 things we're going to talk about. The gauge is working, the warning light is off. It's at 150 degrees, which is normal operating range. And as the truck warms up, it should rise up to about 180. All right, we're going to skip this, so we're just kind of going to go up, rainbow down around here, and hit the voltmeter. Gauge is working, warning light is off, it's slightly above 14 volts, which is normal operating range, and the system is charging properly. They want to hear you say that. That's the 4th thing. And then the primary and secondary air gauges. Gauges are working, warning lights are off. They're just above 120 psi, which is normal operating range. As far as the tag, the governor's kicked on at just over 120. Will suffice. If the governor hasn't kicked on yet, you can say that it's going to. But yeah, so that's pretty simple, right? 4 gauges, 4 things you got to talk about with each gauge. No big deal. So we kind of rainbowed here, right? And then just rainbow on back down, come straight down and get to your headlights, dashboard lights. Now we've already checked the outside lights. We're checking the inside lights now. So, all right, the headlights, the dashboard lights are working. I'll go ahead and flip back off. And then go to this stick right here. You got left signal, right signal, high beams, wipers, and washer fluid. That's 5 things all right there. And I'm gonna go through the middle, hit my 4-ways, make sure they're working. City horn, air horn, and check the steering wheel, make sure it's got no excessive free play. No more than 2 inches on a 20-inch wheel, which is also kind of a made-up number. But you'll see that's what we're talking about there. It's not this. It's just the moment you kind of feel it grab. Which this is getting a little bit of slack in it, but we're still good. And then you move it over here, check the heater and defroster. Here, make sure that's blowing. Go up top to the defroster. Okay, that's working. And then where am I at? I'm at the windshield and the wipers. The wiper blades are making proper contact with the windshield. They're not cut or frayed. The blades are not cut or frayed. The windshield's not cracked or broken. It has no illegal stickers or obstructions, such as squeegees and binders or hats. And the last thing I'm going to check is the mirrors and make sure they're properly adjusted. We've already kind of talked about they're not cracked or broken, they're properly mounted, secured, and all that. So from in here, we're just, properly adjusted, clean, not cracked or broken. Can't really say too much about it. And that's all the things we're going to check before we do the brake test. You notice it isn't too bad, right? From the engine off, it's the seat belt, fire extinguisher, 6 spare fuses, 3 reflective triangles. Turn the key on, ABS light comes on and goes off, all the other warning lights come on and go off. You start the truck up. Oil pressure, water temperature, voltmeter, air gauges. Right, those 4 gauges. Rainbow it back down, get headlights, and then left, right, high beams, wipers, washers is all right there. Through the middle, 4-ways, city horn, air horn, no excessive free play. It all kind of leads to itself. Then it comes over here to the heater and defroster. Now you're up here with your hand. Finish off with the wiper blades, the windshield,
And the
then
mirrors.
out to the mirrors. And that's just kind of a little flow you can take. Nothing too crazy there.